All right, Shalom. This is Tazawar with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and from whom we learn this truth. Shalom to Yakim out there, pushing light doctrine and spitting truth, though you may not be in GMS. And to you brothers and sisters, your Akwath and your Akwathim, and you speckled birds listening, learning abroad, to you, I say Shalom. All right, this is going to be a quick one. I always say that, though. Salakia. Let's just say this. In light of, recent events and all that, going into Maui, all right, the island of Maui over there in Hawaii, understand two things. One, all things are of the Lord, right? The Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Okay? This could very well be judgment, all right, and an omen on America as a whole, or shall I say, Salakia, Babylon the Great, all right, as well as just a judgment on an individual level for all those people that perished. Now, the Heavenly Father uses men to do his bidding. All right. He gives charge to the angels on the left hand and on the right to do his bidding here on earth. Okay. However, there are some takeaways that we should have, or some things that we should remember with the man who reigns over this kingdom. All right. Now, many people have come online saying things like, oh, it's awfully strange, the burn patterns and things of that nature. How complete structures, dwellings, and vehicles were basically incinerated. All right, burned down to powder and dust. And nearby trees, trees in close proximity, I'm talking, all right, that do not have burn marks on either side of the tree, right? On the side closest to where the fire was. So a lot of people are saying that is pinpoint accuracy. Then you've had people upload some images which seem to be beams or rays or some type of energy coming from above, which caused the catastrophe. All right. Now, those same, we just call them beams. We're not going to call them, the Cain, all right? Cain, whose name means weapon. Anyway, those beams are basically futuristic, things that we've seen in movies. Okay, futuristic movies. If you follow what I'm saying, I'm trying to speak lightly here because they've been taking down a lot of videos lately. And I don't want to get this video nixed. Anyhow, I do want to make a point and say this. With all of the technology and power that these individuals have, right, at their disposal, those same, very similar beams will come across this continent as a whole, all right, at some point in the future. We don't know when, but that will be happening at some point. The only difference is the source of those beams will be coming from the biblical chariots, all right, of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, all right, with the heavenly host controlling those chariots, all right, as the horsemen. Anywho, let's hurry up and get right into it. I think I want to get let's grab Ecclesiasticus 12 and 3. There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, all right, nor to him that giveth no alms. Okay, now the powers that be are ungodly men, okay, and no good can come to them, which is why this society is spiraling downward, okay. And as we see on a global level, their grasp on the planet is slipping, and in recent times at an exponential rate, which they very well know that at this point, their rule and kingdom is at a place of no return. Okay, and that's because they are always occupied in evil. All right, and it says, nor to him that give no alms. All right, they don't give to the poor, to the needy. All right, they take all the resources and hog them, for themselves. They heap all the wealth together for their own use, their own benefit, right? And at what end? Because as much as the world has to offer, a few people can't possibly utilize all those resources. All right. And let's not even talk about doing so in equity, because that's not a word that this devil understands. Okay. Let's jump down to verse 10. All right. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. All right. Basically, it's saying, first and foremost, the takeaway of this is to never trust thine enemy. Okay. But it's liking his wickedness, his character, as to iron that has begun to rust. All right. Now, once metal is rusted, it's been compromised. Okay. See, at this time, wasn't no such thing as bondo or compound that you can, put over it, some synthetic shit that you can cover it up with. But the point is, once that metal begins to oxidize, it's in a state of compromise and it's going to continue to deteriorate. Right? Its integrity is gone. Okay? And likewise, to Esau, all right, the Idumeans, so you can understand. Look that word up. All right, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Okay, that's a warning. This man is a treaty breaker. Okay? We know that based on how he got this land and how he dealt so with the so-called Native Americans, right? The so-called Native Indians. Okay? But he's even broken treaties among his own people. All right? You look at what's going on right now between the two big warring powers in the earth. Russia, who has began to gather other nations unto herself and established the BRICS nation. And then you look here at the whore Babylon. Well, at some point they said that, America said that they wouldn't go past certain bounds. And here we are now, today, and they're trying to pull in bordering countries of Russia into the UN. So again, they've broken treaties among their own people, man. All right. Let's get this Micah 2:2. I'm gonna start at 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Man, that's hidden right there, because these these fires, both here in Maui, or not here, but in Maui, and on the west coast of the mainland, right, Chicago, California, some very strange, like I said, burn patterns, man. And it's awfully convenient how we don't hear about those things anymore, and they pushing all that shit under the rug. We haven't heard very much about California and those fires. All right. What type of investigation has been done? And over here in I keep saying over here, over in Maui, right? Well, you had officials, people that were charged with, who had taken oaths to protect the public, like the fire chief and things of that nature, refusing to sound off alarms or denying, help to survivors and things of that nature. I'm just saying it. The guy resigned. That could be hearsay. But usually people don't resign for no reason. All right. Now, verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. All right. Those Samoans over there, man, have been oppressed. Those Japhites, that's what they are, biblically speaking. Those Japhetic tribes over there, man, they're conquered people also. And they've been oppressed, much like many other nations. But the fact of the matter is, when these people want something, they go get it. Right? They live by that, take what you want. Okay? And they take it by what? It says, and take them by violence. Right? And houses. So they take the fields and the houses by violence. They take them away, and they oppress a man and his house. Right? That second house there, it's talking about a man and his house. That's going into his family line. Okay? His offspring. Even a man and his heritage. All right? Are we not allowed to practice our heritage as it should be? Right? And I'm not even just talking about us brews, man. But to go amongst those people to conduct any type of business, you have to dress the part. You got to speak the part, learn English, speak well, or you don't play ball. Right? So to really make it here in this society, man, you got to be one of two things. You either got to be a sellout and a coon, or I'll say one of three. Somehow figure out how to work, be self-employed, we're going to call that, but you still got to work for this motherfucker because you got to pay him tribute. You got to pay taxes. All right. And to get your startup, you still got to dress the part, go in there, talk the part, speak the part to get the initial money for startup. Unless you go to some third-party investors or something. And the other way is, which, that being a master code switcher. I'll just say it like that. Being a master code switcher. But that don't really guarantee you no real comfort. You know what I'm saying? Because they know. They know we be code switching on their ass. Even the old dude that over in South Africa, right, was talking about that. It was a clip online talking about, everybody is scared of white people. Even me. Talking about, when the white man come around, they gotta straighten up tight, tidy up, fix their clothes, start talking different, throw off that accent and everything. But you can't be yourself, man, and be a part of this world and be successful. Unless they find you as a threat. Because that's what they find threatening. A man standing in his heritage. Because our heritage as Hebrew Israelites is completely contrary to this world, man. So that's the last thing that they want, a so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans doing. All right? But that's why the scriptures say we will stand in great boldness. All right? And we doing so. Because they got us on the watch list. They probably got many of our faces on in a database or some shit. Because we be online. We be on the street corners. They be sending out drones and agents and shit too. But he can't do nothing about it because he can't stop this truth. And look, he can't put his hand on us either way. Anyway, unless the Heavenly Father say so. All right? But anyway, verse 2 is the point. They covet fields and take them by violence, all right? That's absolutely what's been happening, because many of these places, they've been lands that are sought after, all right? If you've noticed, gentrification is in full swing, these in recent times, all right? Not just, in the tropics and things of that nature where the locals are, or the so-called minority groups, but even on the mainland over here, in the 48s, you can go from city to city, state to state, all right? In all the downtown areas where Jake, be at, all right? Us Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, where it's densely populated at with our demographic, the so-called ghetto. Oh, they didn't start trying to take all that shit back, because now niggas is moving out to the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? But hey, downtown, they done started trying to reclaim all that. You know what I'm saying? They be downtown jogging and shit, walking their dogs. You know what I'm saying? In the dusk hours too. That's how you know that it's a wrap for that city. All right? And I'm of the opinion, all right, this ain't scriptural, but I'm of the opinion, based on the prophecies, that the grab for these downtown areas, all right, and some of these coveted luxurious, coastal places, 15-minute cities, all right, or we'll say like this, that Hunger Games type shit, where they're gonna set up the different districts or whatever. That's just food for thought. All right. But anyway, the last video I made was talking about viewing all things through spiritual eyes. Okay, including the movies, stuff that's in the news, world events. Okay? You brothers and sisters, stay diligent, man. Keep your eye on the horizon. Matter of fact, look up. All right, because that's where our salvation is going to come from. All right, but hey, watch the times, because things are moving quickly. Time is speeding up. All right, I was going to get one more verse, but I think I'm going to say that for another lesson. There was one more point I wanted to bring it. I forgot to bring it out in the last video when I was talking about that they clone Tyrone joint. I had went into like the time frame, right? How it was like a mix of the dress code was like out of date, but the vernacular and some of the names they was dropping was more like recent, because it was talking about basically spanning over time and generations. All right, but there was something else at the end of the movie. I don't want to give it away if you ain't seen it. All right, I'm gonna just say go watch the movie. But I thought it was interesting that when they got to, we're gonna call the guy that was pulling the strings, at least in that in that section, right? Or that wing, they called it. That it was how do I say this while giving away the video? The guy that was pulling the strings, anyway, the guy who was masterminding all of that, he said something I thought was very interesting. He was like, "Oh, can you guess who the first ones were?" And then, oh boy, the main character, mentioned who they were, and he was like, "Yeah, the hair." He was like, the hair is a stubborn thing, right? But in the midst of that conversation, and then they had these tubes up with like this very, very dark skinned man all the way over, and then they had men of like varying shades of brown to like light skin, then a non-melanated individual, like a white person, right? So-called white. Um, that would be Edomite. But anyway, he was talking about assimilation and, basically having everybody, look alike and bringing everybody together and all of this. Hey, that right there is two things. Going all the way back to initially Nimrod and the Tower of Babel, you know what I'm saying? Before the tongue splits. All right. All nations, all men gathered under one banner, and everything. And then the other part about that, where he was trying to basically lighten, all right, the people. Well, we know that really can't happen because there's too many dark people. But the point behind that statement was, what it made me think about is how this man tried to hide his seed. Right? He done mixed his seed among all the different nations. Okay? So Esau got people over there in Asia, the so-called Middle East, the Ottoman Turks. All right? Now they in South Africa. You got chocolate dipped Edomites. So I mean, Tracy Ellis Ross would be one of them, as an example. All right? Them Smollets and all of that, they'd be one. We'll say, potential, because anyway, that was just something that I thought was interesting, man, about this guy basically mentioning in the film mingling the genome, all right, mingling the DNA, or hiding the seed, or trying to, in an attempt to do that. All right. And so that's another thing, but I ain't gonna get too far into that because like I said, I want the video to get clipped. But hey, that's food for thought. Anyway, I ain't got much time. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.